I'm going to start filling in some metadata. We're going to be traveling clockwise around our points today. It's either clockwise or counterclockwise generally. All right, we're at 38 degrees. There's a little frost on the boardwalk. No wind. We've got about 60% cloud cover. No precipitation. And then there's always a little bit of traffic noise. So we just record that as well. And then we're about ready. So they're 10-minute point counts. It's both by sound and by what we're looking at. And what this survey is really trying to do is look at how birds are using microhabitats here at the marsh and what behaviors they are exhibiting. So we're going to try to track that here at our first site. So I'm hearing killdeer and red-winged blackbirds, also a marsh wren. There's a distant robin singing. Someone just joined in here. We got a song sparrow right down below the boardwalk. There's our marsh wren. Of course, got our lovely mallards. And now I'm going to kind of look and see what each bird is doing. We got about 111 mallards. And for our location, they're in the water or in the intertidal mud. So I'm going to put that down and put them as 2 codes since they're exhibiting different behaviors. All 3 of these points are looking into the same marsh. We just have to kind of think about what birds we're seeing here and not double count them over at the other 2 sites. So that's just something to think about. And this is a really great time because really, we had the kind of not first day of spring for us, but for birds. So things are definitely coming alive at the marsh at the beginning of March. And it's fun to hear and see new birds arriving. We got 2 American widgeons, and they are here. They kind of overwinter here, but we don't see them breeding in Western Washington, so the marsh definitely provides a nice stopover site for them to forage, gain fat before they migrate north. We got an Anna's hummingbird and a song sparrow sort of vying for a perch site. Oh, bald eagle flying over, so this might flush some of our mallards, depending on how close it gets. Sometimes I tend to forget the ducks in terms of number. We've got 6 great blue herons now. So I just like to double check right after I'm done. And the crows. So we definitely count crows. And crows will definitely nest here in the marsh. So this survey is a little trickier than other point counts that I've done, in part because we're not only trying to identify and count sort of what birds are here, but also looking at if they're moving between microhabitats or which ones they're using in particularly, and then also tracking kind of what behavior codes they're doing. So are they foraging? Are they preening? Are they resting? Are they mating? Is their breeding confirmed? So it's just kind of a whole sweep of things to keep track of. And it's really interesting to see what that data looks like for the full year. So these surveys happen all 12 months, twice a month, and we're really just trying to figure out sort of what species are here during which times and how they're using the habitat. So our end time, 7:03. That's sort of our first count of the day.
Where's your next point?
Our next point is just right over there. So it kind of just gives a little bit of a different view. I filled out my metadata, and now let's see some birds. So now, just like we were talking about, there's 3 of those hybrid gulls. Actually, 2 hybrid gulls and a short-billed gull as well. Documented a lot of the mallards already from our previous site, so it's kind of just figuring out what's new, what's sort of at this different perspective closer to these reed beds. So I'm hearing a couple different birds as well, just by changing this near the trees. So we're getting spotted towhee, dark-eyed juncos, and song sparrows. So I'll record those even though I'm just hearing them because they are singing in the marsh. So hearing some dark-eyed juncos, that's definitely evidence of some interaction of potential mating. Hearing that, really kind of loud chipping noise. Here we go. We got a female bufflehead just kind of entering the marsh. But yeah, so it started as more of a just volunteer base. People would sign up and it'd be different people, week to week, month to month. But it was really hard to have consistent people. And the fact of trying to monitor, changes that were happening was tough with different skill levels and things like that. There's a European starling that just flew by. I do record invasive species too. All right, so we are at point number 3 along the boardwalk. We're right by the athletic center. So in the video, you might hear a little bit of weird noise from the athletic center itself, which can influence the birds that we hear. But it's a great site to really have we don't see as many species here generally, but we see a lot of sort of this reed bed where red-winged blackbirds nest, marsh wren nest. A lot of birds use these pretty big trees like chickadees, bush tits, things like that. And you might also notice we have quite a bit of traffic noise here. Again, I try to start at sunrise, so we kind of, get the least amount of traffic as possible, but it does pick up. And this is a whole new group of birds. I would not have identified these birds from the other previous sites. I'm hearing black-capped chickadees, red-winged blackbirds, song sparrow, spotted towhee, so lots of birds. There's a couple female red-winged blackbirds gathering some cattail material. So potentially gathering material for nests.